In the headlines, black marketers exploit motorists as fuel scarcity persists. Federal High Court denies suspended DSP Abba Kyari bail. Parents of Nigerian students in Ukraine protest at Russian embassy. And on the foreign scene, UN General Assembly holds special session on Russia's invasion of Ukraine as EU set to reduce its dependency on Russian oil and gas. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Now the news in full. Fuel shortage is taking its toll on motorists as many often sleep at petrol stations just to get unadulterated product at official pump price. Black marketers take advantage of the situation to sell fuel at exorbitant rates. A black marketer speaks with Trust TV on how he beats long fuel queues to get the commodity for resale. Trust TV's Mardia Umar reports.
A common sight along many streets is young boys holding jerrycans and funnels or hoses, or combination of all three. They chase after cars to sell petrol, which they have purchased from the petrol stations. Umar Jibril is one of such black marketers.
So I don't know they have no get fuel, but every day they see queue. They see queue. Me kuma, I be black market person. Sometimes me are the happy for down, sometimes me I know the happy because of at the suffer. At the enter police station buy, sometimes at the enter some Okada people now in they buy for me buy me I get something inside. Because of Nigeria don't spoil everywhere na chua then they.
So you now you they buy like 3,000 naira. If you can't come outside, you can't they sell like 9,000 naira. Why? The money not too much.
Not too much for me because of the suffer why they suffer before I get out.
How you they take suffer? You they 90 nights now they buy.
I didn't buy in the night, I dey buy in the morning, early morning, around 5. I dey buy them from police station, I dey buy them from Okada people, I dey buy them from people chua. Yes, Abuja for Abuja here. Some I dey buy them for Nasarawa, some I dey buy them for Akonga. That is why they suffer to sell higher price.
He attributes his hustle to hardship faced on daily basis in the country. But is there any justification for taking advantage of a difficult situation to milk others dry? Mardia Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
A federal high court in Abuja has refused to grant bail application of suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police Abba Kyari, who is being investigated over his alleged involvement in a 25-kilogram cocaine deal. The court adjourned until March 15 to hear a fundamental rights enforcement suit filed by Kyari. Trust TV's Mardia Umar reports.
Counsel to the NDLEA and counsel to Abba Kyari declined interview with newsmen after the court sitting. Ruling on the bail application on Monday, Justice Inyang Echo held that the bail application had been overtaken by events in view of an order of a sister court granting NDLEA permission to detain the plaintiff for another 14 days to enable it to conclude its investigation.
After deliberations from the Defense Counsel and also the Prosecuting Counsel at the Federal High Court in Abuja, the former Deputy Commissioner of Police Abba Kyari was not granted bail by the presiding judge, Justice Inyang Echo. Recall that he filed a bail application earlier this month, and also he sued the federal government for the infringement of his right. Justice Inyang Echo has joined the case for the enforcement of his fundamental human rights hearing, which will take place on the 15th of March 2022. But pending the hearing, he will be given the adequate attention, because he also filed, one of the reasons he filed for the bail application was because of his ill health. So Justice Inyang Echo said that he will be given the prescribed medication until the hearing on the 15th. Of course, the day of the hearing too, it will be time for the hearing of the enforcement of his fundamental human rights, which he claimed has been infringed upon. So until then, we'll just keep our fingers crossed and see what happens at the hearing, which is stipulated to hold on the 15th of March 2022. Mardia Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And in education, National Association of Nigerian Students has held a nationwide protest against the lingering strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities. The students, led by the national president, Sunday Asefong, gathered Monday morning at the Unity Fountain, National Assembly, Federal Secretariat in the nation's capital, displaying various placards and chanting solidarity songs. The protest held in other states, including Kano State, Plateau, Niger, Jalingo, Taraba State, Ekiti State, Oyo, among others.
Strike is a recurring line of action in the educational system as it is currently being perpetuated by Academic Staff Union of Universities. This has led Nigerian students on the streets of Abuja to demand for their right of education.
The protesting students began the protest from the Unity Fountain to other parts of the Federal Capital Territory with the presence of security operatives expressing their demands of the federal government and the striking Academic Staff Union of Universities. President of the National Association of Nigerian Students, Sunday Asefong, while addressing journalists at the gates of the National Assembly, said the Students' Union has given the federal government an ultimatum to meet and resolve the issue with ASUU or face a national mass action by the Nigerian students.
As a matter of urgent, that we want the Speaker and the Senate President to help us intervene on the matter that matters to our life. Yes. Education is a right. Yes. It's not a privilege. Yes. We are calling on them. Yes. They should talk to ASUU. They should talk to federal government. They should have an equilibrium. They should resolve their differences. We want to go back to school. We want to go back to class. We are tired of being at home.
He described as unfortunate the attitude of the federal government, who he accused of playing hide and seek with ASUU since 1999 when it signed the agreement with the academic union.
We are begging them, the way they are taking our education, the government, the attitude of government and ASUU towards our education system in this country is alarming. We don't want it. We are calling on them. The ASUU should call us strike. If they don't call us strike, we are coming back. If they don't call us strike, we are coming back. Thank you so much, and I'm sure the Speaker and the Senate President will hear this message. We are leaving, but if we come back again, if the ASUU strike if we don't hell between now and Friday, permanently, I can assure you, if we come back here, we will not live here.
Student union leaders at the protest joined voices in making their demands heard.
According to the strike that we have in Nigeria here, the ASUU strike is, we totally condemn ASUU strike. It is not good. Education is our right, not a privilege. And if the federal government of Nigeria is not sponsoring ASUU for our education, we don't want them in office. That is our demand for now.
The corrupt system cannot be flushed out if the educational system are not rectified. As I'm talking to you now, I will not stop until I go back to school.
Do they want us to go and start doing their one? They will arrest us, or they want us to become criminals in the street. Let them open the school. Let's go to school. Want to go to school? No school, no national assembly. No school. They will close all the offices in Abuja here. We are ready for that.
Now we are on the second week of ASUU strike. Nobody is catering for, nobody is looking to Nigerian students as a critical stakeholder. We constituted the highest population of youth in Nigeria. Nigerian students constituted their highest population. Then why are they not putting us into consideration? If ASUU is fighting for us, if federal government said they are not, they have fulfilled their own part of the agreement, then they should incorporate us into that stakeholder meeting. Let us see what they are negotiating on. If they are negotiating our future, let us know ourselves. If they are fighting for us or they are fighting for themselves, ASUU should come out and say it to our face, we are tired. Enough of all this madness. We want to be back to our institutions. We want to be back to school. Unilag, FUTA, they are supposed to start examining of this month, this February. Nuga Games is in 20 days' time. Everything is in jeopardy.
Chants of frustration are obviously what is in the voices of the Nigerian students on the street protesting and asking the federal government to meet with the demands of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, just so they can return to school, they can return to academic activities, as they have missed out a lot. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
In the same vein, protesters thronged the Russian embassy in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, to protest against Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Parents of Nigerian students affected by tension between the countries joined the protest as they appealed to the Russian government to stop the war in Ukraine and embrace peace in a bid to allow their children return to school in Ukraine. Hundreds of people have fled Ukraine since Russian President Vladimir Putin launched an attack on neighbors Ukraine. The Nigerian government had, in the wake of the invasion, rolled out plans to evacuate its citizens from Ukraine, although many faulted the move as belated.
No longer in school. So many of them have run away for their safety. So presently, we don't know where they are. We can't account for them. So that is why we are here.
We Nigerian women are come to beg the UK and Russia and the Nigeria embassy and the UK embassy to join together to make peace. My junior sister is there, so they're crying to Nigeria to beg the Ukraine and Russia to make peace. They still love where they still love the town, so they need peace to reign.
We have children there that are schooling. We have businessmen there from Nigeria that are there. But because of this war, it gives us sleepless nights. So that is why we are here, to tell Russian government, Ukrainian government to negotiate and shift swords, give peace a chance. So that our children that are out of school now there should return back to school. The businessmen there should go have peace to go about their normal businesses. So that is why we are pleading with them to give peace a chance and stop the war.
You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break. Royal tussle in Qatar Emirate. Do stay.
It's a story of toil, bloodbath and displacement. It's a problem in search of solutions.
Wallahi akwai sadda udawan mu na taho tsakanina da Allah yan sa kai suka tare su tsakanin mace da namiji da dan yaro karami billahi lazi sama da mutum 100 an kashe.
For over 10 years, an age-long conflict between herders and farmers, which has transformed into a deadly armed uprising, has claimed the lives of thousands of persons and led to the displacement of thousands of others. Talking to the key actors and victims of the conflict, Trust TV takes a dive into the heart of this conflict and brings all sides of the narratives behind the devastating crisis. We also traveled to some of the frontline areas to speak with persons affected by the violent conflict and aggregate opinions on the way out.
Welcome back. You're still watching Trust News Updates. Here's a look at some of our top stories. You heard that fuel shortage is taking its toll on motorists as many often sleep at petrol stations just to get unadulterated product at official pump price. You also heard that the Federal High Court in Abuja has refused to grant bail application of suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police Abba Kyari, who is being investigated over his alleged involvement in a 25-kilogram cocaine deal. Moving to health, Nigeria's Center for Disease Control logged 24 infections across 6 states and the Federal Capital Territory. According to the agency, in its update on Sunday, February 27th, the data shows 20 discharges were recorded with no deaths recorded, leaving the fatality figure at 3,142. The country now has a total of 254,525 confirmed cases and 249,013 recoveries. Still on health, COVID-19 pandemic has necessitated massive consumption of personal protective equipment worldwide. Single-use face masks is one of the most used PPE to prevent the transmission of the virus. But disposal of such COVID-19 wastes and its management threaten the environment with a new form of plastic pollution. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu surveys the disposal of face masks and how it could possibly lead to environmental disaster.
The need to stem the tide of the COVID-19 pandemic with single-use face masks have been the emblems of the pandemic era. These plastic-based coverings have also been an environmental disaster in the making. Face masks are the most widely used undiscarded personal protective equipment.
Sometimes if I put it on, if I'm in my car, I remove them. So if I want to dispose it, sometimes it will be on my car. When I compile them, I dispose them inside the dustbin. So that is what I do. And there's an experience I had. I saw one guy, walking around looking for it, picking them one after the other. Immediately it just came to my mind, what are these guys using it for? Is it that they are, washing them, pressing them, and then selling it to us again? So from them, I've been careful of me, anytime I want to buy it, I'll make sure I check it very well. Or either I buy it in a pharmacy, or maybe some of them I'll look them to verify first before getting it.
Don't dispose my nose masks. I misplace them, and I can't put a figure to the numbers of nose masks I use in a day. If peradventure I'm going to a place and I see I would need a nose mask, if I don't have a nose mask in my car, then it means I will need to get a nose mask. And if I misplace that, and I need to access a place that needs a nose mask, it means I will have to get another one. So there is I can't put a figure to the amount or the quantity of nose masks that I use in a day. And disposing them, as I said earlier on, I can't recall disposing a nose mask personally, but I know for sure that I do misplace nose masks. I usually buy them close to areas where I need to use them. There are usually these boys that sell nose masks around there, and it's easier to get it from the streets, for me anyway.
For me, I would say I don't have a specific time. Just as soon as I know that it's ready to be replaced, I do take it off and then get a new one. I know some people that use it once a day and then they just take it off because of certain precautions. So speaking for myself, maybe once in 3 weeks, once in 2 weeks. I can't really tell, but I can give you that range. Usually the way I dispose every other thing that needs to be disposed, in the waste bin, I do it properly, and I make sure that every other thing, including the nose mask, goes to its proper place. Any form of material can be used as a nose mask. So far it is good enough, like a cloth. This prevents the virus from getting into the nostrils when you're inhaling. So I would say material-wise, I cannot tell. I just know that as long as it is new, it is kept neatly in a bag or in a plastic container, then it can be used. As long as you know that it has not been tampered with, just like any other product.
Normally I use 2-3 in a day. Like this one is the third one I'm using because it's not hygienic. Once it got wet, maybe any other thing, I dispose that. I normally buy pack. In a day, the minimum I use or the maximum I use is 3 pairs. Most of the time I burnt them. Normally I burnt them because my waste is meant to be burnt.
Yusuf Abdullahi, a waste management expert, warns that face masks are potentially infectious materials and their disposals should not be mixed with non-hazardous waste materials.
Medical waste should not actually be mixed with trash. But in this country, in most countries, in most cities, rather, in Nigeria, you find out that both healthcare waste, that is waste that are potentially infectious, such as the mask, they are usually combined with trash and they are disposed together in an open dump. Yes, the best practice is that you put it in a separate bag. In an ideal situation, in every office or in every house, you will have a bin. Now that bin, usually colored green, is for non-hazardous waste or low-risk household or domestic trash. So this face masks, there should be a separate bag where you keep it, just like your sanitary pad, just like your Pampers. So it's the same way that you need to put things that are potentially infectious in a separate bag and you tie them. Usually they are colored red to indicate that they are hazardous.
He further called on the domesticated environmental health officers to enlighten the public on the best practices of waste disposal to reduce the potential spread of secondary diseases in the communities.
It's important for local governments, those that are constitutionally saddled with the responsibility of managing urban waste, and healthcare practitioners and more importantly, citizens and communities to be aware of the risk associated with the face masks and ensure that these face masks are disposed of responsibly.
Measures such as development of hazardous waste disposal procedures, storage protocols for hazardous materials, and development of recycling programs, according to experts, will help mitigate face mask waste that can now be found everywhere. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Katsina Emirate is embroiled in controversy following the resignation of Professor Sani Abubakar Lugga as Wazir in Katsina over comments on insecurity. Professor Lugga dumps the prestigious title of Wazir in Katsina after receiving a letter from the Emirate Council querying him over a comment on the state of insecurity in the state. Abdullahi Ahmadi has more.
Sani Abubakar Lugga, a professor of conflict management, spoke on deteriorating security situation in Katsina State and Nigeria at a lecture on peace and conflict resolution in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, recently. Professor Sani Lugga lamented the incessant attacks on innocent people by suspected bandits, a situation that forced many rural dwellers, including ward and village heads in the affected areas, to flee to a more relatively peaceful places for safety. Those comments from the Wazir in Katsina does not go down well with the Emirate Council, claiming that the professor should have thought for clearance from the Emir before making such comments on issues as sensitive as insecurity. However, in a 4-page letter dated 23rd February 2022 addressed to the Emir of Katsina, Alhaji Dr. Abdulmumin Kabir Usman, Professor Sani Lugga relinquished his title as Wazir in Katsina and expressed gratitude to the Emir and Katsina Emirate Council for giving him the opportunity to serve as the 5th Wazir in Katsina over the period of 22 years. The letter further explained that the professor did not attend the Ilorin lecture as Wazir in Katsina, but as a patriotic citizen of Nigeria, where he expressed himself in the same manner many concerned Nigerians are freely expressing themselves at various forums on matters regarding insecurity. In a telephone interview with the Secretary to the Emirate and the Sarkin Yakin Katsina, Alhaji Ibrahim Mamman Ifo, who is in faraway Egypt, confirmed that Professor Sani Lugga has relinquished his position, or rather his title, as Wazir in Katsina. He said the letter sent to the Wazir in Katsina by the Emirate Council was not in any way meant to antagonize him, but rather to give him the opportunity to explain in a clear and simple terms why he made such comments without the clearance of the Emir of Katsina, Alhaji Dr. Abdulmumin Kabir Usman. You see, presently I am not in the country. I am in Egypt, but I learned the Waziri has tendered his resignation letter. It was collected and deliberations are ongoing with regards to his resignation. You see, he is entitled to his own opinion and you cannot stop him from doing that. I believe later in life a lot of things will unfold and a lot of things will be rectified. This is very sad for the Wazir in Katsina, a well-experienced person who served the Emirate for over 20 years, to resign. The Waziri ought to have been very patient, answer the query issued to him, and wait for whatever action from the Emirate Council.
What he says was a naked fact. Even the governor of the state had once complained of the security situation in the state. The district head of other local government did the same thing. And many prominent people from Katsina and outside Katsina state had contributed or had achieved something out of the security situation.
What many people are waiting to see here is to whether consultations, interfacing, and the much talked about amicable resolutions of the matter will see the professor back to retain his title as Wazir in Katsina. Abdullahi Ismail Ahmadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has said outcome of the People's Democratic Party presidential primaries will surprise Nigerians. He said whoever emerges as candidate is rest assured that the party will rally around and make sure he wins the 2023 presidential election. Governor Wike, while speaking in Port Harcourt, said comment by former Vice President and PDP presidential candidate in the 2019 election, Atiku Abubakar, that he will always clinch the party ticket amounts to taking convention delegates for granted. Governor Wike said he is committed to do anything that will ensure PDP regain power in 2023 and begin once again the process of rebuilding the nation after years of All Progressives Congress's poor governance.
I didn't expect him, frankly speaking, to make that kind of statement that he will always take the ticket of the party. That is too far. I went too far and taking the delegates for granted. But people should watch. It would have been a shock as far as PDP convention is concerned. The people should watch. People should watch what is going to happen. People like to underrate so many people. And it's not with the politics. Watch what is going to happen. What people are thinking may not be at the end of the day. We are a law-abiding party. The party will soon meet. The NEC will meet, and then we'll find the way forward. How do we put our house in order to make sure we religiously follow the timetable of IBEC, religiously follow the timetable without violating any provisions of the law and the guidelines that IBEC may have produced.
And away from Nigeria, United Nations General Assembly has opened a special emergency session to discuss Russia's invasion of its neighbor. UNGA President Abdullah Shahid led the UN's 193 members in the moment of meditation before calling for an immediate ceasefire in the conflict. Monday's session of the General Assembly comes after Russia vetoed on Friday a US-led draft Security Council resolution that would have deplored in the strongest terms the Russian Federation's aggression against Ukraine. Meanwhile, the European Union foreign policy chief says the bloc faces an existential task to reduce its dependency on Russian oil and gas and move to renewable sources and hydrogen in the wake of Moscow's attack on Ukraine. About one-third of the natural gas used by EU is currently supplied by Moscow. Also, French President Emmanuel Macron has told his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin to halt Moscow's offensive in Ukraine. Macron also urged Putin to stop all strikes on civilians in Ukraine, preserve the country's civilian infrastructure, and provide safe access to key roads, especially south of the capital, Kyiv. And with that, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Hosseina Usman. Thanks for watching.